Okay, everybody, here we go. This is the first video in a series I'm going to do about this West German Sig Sauer P228. This is a gun I've wanted for a long time, and I finally found one. And what I'm going to be doing is upgrading it with some of the more modern parts that are available now. These guns were originally released in the 80s, and since that time, there's been a lot of aftermarket parts that have come out, as well as Sig has released various parts to improve it. So I'm going to go through the first step of this. I'm probably not going to be doing it in the best order in terms of disassembly and assembly, because I'm doing the steps really that are easiest and for the parts that I have, because I still have some parts on order. So the first thing we're going to do tonight is put a new grip on it. I'm going to do the E2 Sig Sauer grip and walk you through that. There's a few parts that you have to change before that can go on. And then some of the other things I'll talk about as I go through. So the first thing that is required to, well, first let's check the gun. For safe, drop the mag. Okay. And what I'm doing tonight probably doesn't require full disassembly, but I'm going to go ahead and take the slide off as well. So the first thing you need to do on these older SIGs is replace the trigger bar spring. So this is the trigger bar spring. These older SIGs have a spring that goes like this, and the newer grips do not support that. So this is what the new trigger bar spring looks like. And it will fit inside. I don't know if you can see that or not here, but this little cutout inside the grip, that's where that spring fits. This larger spring would not fit in there. So this is a simple change. It goes in that notch. Trigger bar spring is changed. The next piece that has to be done for this grip is to change out the main spring and the strut. So we're going to take the other grip panel off. Okay. And so for this part, let me take out these new parts so you can see. Here's the new strut. This is a Wolf 19-pound spring. And we also need the new boot. So this will get replaced. This is a new decocking lever, but some other parts have to be taken off, and I'm going to be changing the trigger later, so I'm not going to replace that tonight. I'm just going to do what's required for the grip tonight. So this boot, the new mainspring and the boot, this will go on like this and replace the current mainspring. So to get this off, one, you want to make sure it's decocked. Take the pressure off that mainspring. Keep some pressure down here, pressing down, and then you're going to push on the boot and pry it up. Get it, there we go. And then once you do that, this should come out, and there's your old strut. So we'll put that aside. And this is the new one that goes on. Now, before we put this on, we're gonna add some lube to it. Or grease or whatever you use. I'm gonna go ahead and wipe my hand off here because you don't want slippery hands when you're putting it back on. This goes up in here and you have to feel around. It goes up as high as it can go and you can kind of feel it. But once the hammer is moving forward a little bit, when you get that up, you should be good. It should be centered there. That feels good. Put the spring on. Put the boot on. And then this, you should just, you don't want it to pop up, but be able to put some downward pressure towards the frame and then slide the boot up into the channel. I haven't actually had to do this part before, so to get my hands. All right. There we go. Now you can see there's some, you can feel the spring tension. So that should be good, but we'll get the grip on and then test it for full function. Okay, so for this, you want to watch out for the decocking spring and the trigger bar spring because this just slides on. I'm going to start here at the bottom and slowly work it on. Underneath the slide release. I'm going to back it off a little bit because you shouldn't have to force anything. I want to make sure I'm not binding or pushing any of those springs. Oh, there it goes. Getting closer. Looks like this side. Looks like we're a little bit low in one spot. And there we go. That looks like everything locked up nice. Okay, let's put the slide back on and see. Check for function. Oh man, yeah, that grip feels nice. You can tell a bit of a difference in that lighter mainspring, but still feels good. Okay, so that is the E2 grip install. We did the trigger bar spring, main spring with the new strut and boot, and the E2 grip. And man, this E2 grip just makes the gun feel like a completely different gun. So that is the first video here in this series. And next we will be doing a gray guns trigger replacement, a new slide release, and also the decocking lever. So that'll be next.